We're excited, get a chance. We were in a bowl game last year, so get an opportunity. Also be able to play a great university like the University of Arkansas. We have Sam Carter, which is one of our guys that's on their staff. So, I know Coach Pittman really well, and a couple of their coaches. So it's fun. So a lot of the kids are from. There's some DFW kids we know that are from that play at with the Hogs. So we're it's anytime you get a chance to play in a bowl game, it's a fun experience.
Mark Berman.
Hey, Gary, how you doing?
Good.
So, you have some serious history with this bowl game. You played here 3 times, and you're on a 2-game winning streak, albeit it was about 13 years ago. Have you had a chance to reflect on the fact you've been here a few times and have some history here?
Well, I've been in TCU 23 years, so I got a lot of places in Texas that I have history with. But we love the town. A lot of Frogs are in Houston, and so we have a lot of alumni. We do a lot of recruiting down there. So for us, bowl games have always been tight. We played some good games in that stadium. So I don't expect this one to be much different.
I know it's maybe not terribly relevant to the coaches, but there's some significant history between the two schools, especially from the days in the Southwest Conference. Could you reflect on that for a second?
Well, I wasn't alive when they were the part of that, but I know there is a lot of history, just like anybody else. Anytime we play, every part of A&M or Texas or SMU, Baylor, the old Southwest Conference schools. So, but it's when Arkansas was part of the conference, it was one of those situations where it's they did a lot of recruiting here, and they still do. And so again, it's always about recruiting. Something's always about recruiting. But to me, it's exciting. This is probably one of the games that I wanted to play just because I know guys on their staff. There's always relationships. You get a chance to. You don't like to play your friends, but the bottom line to it is it's fun to see, and really Coach Pittman's done a great job this year early in the season of getting them where they're playing, because Arkansas plays hard. We watched them several times on TV, and so kind of like us, you kind of have a resurgence a little bit.
Ian Murphy.
Hey, Gary, you mentioned that you know Sam really well, but you missed he wasn't on the staff anymore for the 16 and 17 games. So I'm curious, your relationship with Sam, how long y'all have known each other, and how the connection?
Well, he's a Pittsburgh State grad. I coached there. He was also on the Northern Illinois staff when we played them in a bowl game out in San Diego. So, when you've been in coaching almost 40 years like I do, you get to know a lot of people. You've crossed a lot of paths, doing a lot of things. And so he's kind of like myself. He has had quite a journey. So, which is a good thing. We all move when we're younger and we do things. So but I really like watching from afar. I've really liked how he's come in and how they've done things at Arkansas this year. And so really very complimentary of how the kids are playing. I judge a coaching staff by how the kids play, and the kids play hard, and so they played really hard this year, and recruiting will take care of itself. But that's always a good start, and everything that his kids say about him. So
looking at your season, what do you think's led to the 3-game winning streak, the more consistent performances? What has happened for your season?
Well, we've won 5 out of 6. Just growing up, we only had 8 seniors. We played against Kansas. We only had 43 scholarship guys on the field. When we beat Oklahoma, we only had 53. Our younger players that have all grown up. If you look out there, I think on defense we had 1 senior in the last 4, 5, 6 ball games. So everybody comes back except Garrett Waller, our first team all-conference linebacker. Offensively, it's the same. It's we got some of our young wide receivers back. And so for us, and really offensive line has really kind of gelled. The guys have left. I think we have 1 starter off the group that started the season. because of injuries or whatever. And so really they kind of gelled. They kind of, like I was saying about Arkansas, they've kind of become battlers. We kind of fight. Our young running backs have gotten better. Our quarterback, because he didn't go through spring, he was just a true freshman. Max was a year ago. So he didn't go through spring, and then he basically was out 2 months because of his heart condition. And so basically he got back a little bit right before we started our first game against Iowa State. And so he's just coming into his own. I think he's going to keep progressing and keep getting better when we get into spring. And then back into two-a-days, I think his best days are still ahead of him. So we've just, he's an unbelievable runner. He's very strong. He's one of those guys that's the great leader. The first thing you want to start with is a guy that loves, he hates losing more than he likes winning. And he's definitely one of those guys.
Drew Davison.
Gary, you mentioned it, but just how fired up are your guys, especially being the Houston area guys? I know that's been kind of a hotbed for you from, going back to Andy Dalton to Ross Blacklock to Zach Evans now. Just how big has the Houston area been to your program?
Well, there's two questions. The first one is I haven't talked to my kids because today is their day off. We knew we were going to game plan today. And so, we knew that we had a chance of either Arkansas or Ole Miss. So we had started on those game plans. They're very similar in offenses and really defenses, to be honest. Well, offenses for sure. And so, just really kind of been waiting around to see which one of the opponents we were going to get. But yeah, our kids are very excited. Most of our kids are very excited, even the Louisiana kids, because this is going to be an opportunity for their families to come watch them play. If it would have been, somewhere out of state, going west or really farther east, it would have been harder for them to do that. But Houston is, even for Louisiana, is going to be a great place for the kids to their families to be able to come and watch them. So that's a big deal.
Sam Kahn.
Hey, Gary, one of those Houston guys is Zach Evans, your freshman running back. What would you say about his progress and how he's come along as the season's gone on?
Well, yeah, it's really all of them. Kendrick Miller, Barlow, all three of those. Foster got hurt, and then even Amari. Really, all four of them have had a role. But really, they all, we had a couple 100-yard rushers in the game the other night, him and Kendrick. So it's the future's great for us as far as that position is concerned. And they all like each other. They all get along, and they've progressed. They've gotten a lot better. So it's a good thing.
We'll take two.
He was in watching film today. So
We'll take two more. David Barron.
Really benefit teams in terms of extra practice. Which position groups do you think will benefit most effectively from the extra practice days you'll be getting?
Oh, I don't know. I think all of us, again, we only had 8 seniors, really only down to a couple seniors left team-wise. And so really all of them, these guys have never gone through bowl practices. They were, everybody wants to go to bowl, and then you find out how much work bowls are. And so we've already had a couple practices. Tomorrow will be our third going forward. We'll have 2 or 3, and then we'll have a break for Christmas for a couple of days and then go into game week. But I really think all of us, the rest, getting back, getting tuned in, really as much as anything, staying here and lifting weights, eating right, getting your bodies put back together. That's one of the things that happens during bowl time is you get an opportunity to be able to do that. And so for us, it's definitely because, we won't come back until the end of January we start spring semester. So this way we don't have as big a break. But I don't think we come back and start until like 18th, 19th, to 20th of January. So for us to start, be able to go all the way to the 31st, our kids are going to get a 2 or 3 week break anyway. So that's been a big deal instead of a couple months. So that's for us recruiting. You can't go out recruiting, so give us an opportunity again to be around them more.
Last question for Mark Berman.
I'm good, thank you.
What did you mean me by chance?
And go ahead, Andrew.
Okay. Gary, you mentioned Sam Carter earlier. What was he like as a player? And did you know when he played for you that he would make a good coach like he has at Arkansas so far?
But yeah, he was a coach on the field for us. I mean, that's, you know, I knew he needed to go away and learn other things, but he's a great leader. He's a great role model, and he's a great teacher. And he always was even a great recruiter for us as a player. So I think he brags about being undefeated. So, you know, he's one of he's one of my sons. I would have, you know, he was very close to my family. So Sam Carter is a guy that we think very well of in the Patterson house. So